call evil good and good evil when sin becomes a norm. Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Isaiah chapter 5, verse 20, King James Version. As society continues to push for what I describe as elusive advancement, we are without a doubt diving deeper into dangerous times through trespasses and transgressions. The biggest problem is that man is phasing out the barrier separating right and wrong until the ultimate goal is achieved, tolerance. To achieve this illustrious goal, it has become necessary for man to beautify sin. Artistry, lifestyle choices, and profound self-expression aims to dilute sin until it's redefined. We have reached the day baby boomers dreaded and feared. Fornication and perversion is near and dear to our hearts. With people in hot pursuit to advocate for the legitimacy of man-on-man intercourse, inappropriate relations with young children, and other sexual abominations, the Bible continues to be proven, not refuted. The devil knows exactly what God is doing, and it's not a new course of action he has taken. The scary thing is what Satan is doing or capable of doing, which is not very much, especially if you're a true believer of Jesus Christ, is the fact that generations are becoming more willing to give themselves over to fleshly desires and seducing spirits to satisfy their own carnal cravings. One sin redefined paves the way for others. The quoted scripture foreshadows and warns mankind of willingly placing himself in imminent danger. Why is this dangerous? Let me provide a scenario one probably hasn't considered. Socially, homosexuality isn't considered as extreme as murdering someone, right? But in order to continue indulging in this desire, man has to produce artificial means of support to sustain homosexual practices. For example, if two homosexuals desire children from their relationships, they have to rely on methods of adoption, which requires the oppositional heterosexuals, or scientific breakthroughs, which is all man-centered or completely unnatural. What if the same was said for murder? What if we as people continue to ignore God and one day decide that murder is necessary to hold someone accountable or provide consequences? In order to transform murder into a tolerance or an acceptable desire into society, man will be tasked with implementing artificial systems to counteract the negative results of death or injury if they are allowed to survive. Man permits sexual immorality by putting into place condoms for sexual protection, contraceptives, birth control to alleviate their unwanted consequences. We continue to say we know better, exploring and excavating outside the marital union driven by selfish behavior. Therefore, God's order is disrupted, distorted, and damaged. Side note, though I know there are married couples in situations where the need for condoms and other contraceptives and birth control are medically given, when trying to practice and exercise sexual activity that's outside of marriage, and you want to continue in the behavior, then these things serve more as a counteractive measure more than a medical one. But even still, for the married couple, I would still advise, highly advise, that extra caution is taken through prayer and going and seeking the Lord as to if these things should be used to aid in maybe a pregnancy or whatever the case may be. I would highly just advise that. Continue reading. Reverse engineering, consequences, permitting forbidden pleasures. God attached natural consequences to sins for we receiving in themselves that recompense of their error, which was meat. Romans chapter 1, verse 27, King James Version. When man tries to avert that with his own means to win more control over the natural proceedings, we are purposely telling God, I know me better than you do. The promiscuous uncle celebrating his nephew's first fornication, classifying debased actions as bravery, and confusing the abuser and victim We are violating what is warrant to us in Isaiah chapter 5, verse 20, rewarding these actions with compliments, monetary acknowledgments, and accolades. Aleister Crowley believed human evolution is achieved through debauchery and perversion, a self-effort journey. I pray this evolution is not televised, but if evil is good and good is evil, then we will devolve back into the dirt in which we came. There's no monkeying around with that.